What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Ben Ballion, back with another episode of the Sports Pod. Today, I'm going to talk some Knicks trade targets and recap Game 2 of the MLB Championship Series. Let's jump right into it. All right, jumping straight into the Knicks trade targets. We're going to start off with someone I hope they don't trade for and someone I think they're pretty much out on, but it's James Harden. And first off, I do not want the Knicks to trade for them. I know the Clippers are going after him and trying to pursue him. They're the main team that's doing that right now. But he's a selfish player, and he's going to ruin this Knicks culture of the Nova Knicks, who know how to pass the ball, who know how to play the game the right way after being coached by Jay Wright. And then, even if they do trade for him, they're going to have to give up picks, probably quickly, probably McBride, and maybe even Grimes. And the last three teams he's been on, he's asked out of Houston, Brooklyn, and Philly. So the odds are saying that he's gonna ask out of New York, and I don't think that's what we want, especially if we're gonna give up a lot of draft capital to go get a player like Harden, who is a superstar and one of the best scorers in the league, even as he continues to get older. But I still don't think that this is a guy that the Knicks should go out and trade for. All right, next player, Joel Embiid. Yes, 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 yes. The Knicks should absolutely go out and trade for Joel Embiid if he becomes available. I know this is going to be even harder of a player to trade for than James Harden, but he is so much more worth it than trading for a guy like Harden, who is most likely going to provide more drama than talent on the court. With Embiid, he's a top 3 player in the league right now. It's Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid. And he's got at least 4 or 5 more productive seasons in him. He is a big man, which worries me because of his age and stuff and how long he's going to be more productive. But I think he'll still be okay. And he's only 29 years. I think that his body will hold up until he's at least 34, 35. And still after that, he'll have solid seasons for you. And then he's not a guy that's going to provide drama. He's a guy that's going to go to work. He's going to put his head down, and he's going to compete every single day. And with the culture that the Knicks have, I mentioned it before, Brunson, DiVincenzo, Hart, Arcidiacono, if he can get on the court. That's a great surrounding cast, with Embiid being the center player scoring most of the points. All right, next player, Luka Doncic. Again, I think the Knicks should absolutely go out and trade for a young superstar in this league, a top 5 player, and he's only, let's see, Luka Doncic is only, he's only 24 years old, so he's got at least 12 or to 13 more years. And he just signed a big supermax deal, I think. Yeah, because the Mavs don't have any more salary cap with him and Kyrie both signing max contract extensions. But he's gonna shoot the lights out of the arena. He's gonna knock down probably like 8 to 9 threes a game, shoot about 10 to 12. An efficient player and a magician with the rock. He's someone who does need the ball, but he's also someone who can facilitate for the team if he's not on his game on any given night. We saw it against the Knicks last year when he had that overtime game where Luka threw the ball off the rim. He caught it in midair over 3 Knicks defenders and made a crazy shot. He had a 60-point triple-double in that game. So it's not like he was just shooting the ball every time. He had 10 assists. He had 10 rebounds. That's a very productive night So if the Knicks can get that, again, they're gonna have to give up a lot of draft capital, and they're gonna have to give up most of their young talent. I think that they would have to give up more. So definitely Grimes, definitely Quickly, definitely McBride, maybe even Isaiah Hartenstein, and most of this draft capital that everybody's been talking about and that the Knicks have. By the way, everyone has said that the Knicks have so much draft capital. They haven't drafted anyone in the past 2 seasons. So I don't know when these picks are, but something I did see today is that the Oklahoma Thunder have 37 picks over the next 7 seasons. Like, that's incredible. And they're a young team with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Josh Giddey, Terrence Mann, Chet Holmgren. Like, this is a team that, again, we're seeing it in baseball with the Orioles, the Diamondbacks, the Rangers, that they're led by maybe one or two veterans, not even with the Orioles, but they're led by one veteran in SGA. But then everybody else is a young player that has so much left in their career. So I think that they're going to be a good team for years to come. And they just traded for Victor Oladipo. I don't know what he's going to be able to give you coming off another ACL surgery. But they got him from the Heat. I think they got more draft picks in that deal also. Okay, so moving on to the last player I think the Knicks should go out and trade for. I was going to add Giannis to this list and Dame, but since Dame was traded to the Bucks, I don't think Giannis is going anywhere, and obviously Dame isn't going anywhere because he just got traded. But Karl Anthony Towns is the last guy I want to talk about. I've heard some rumors of the Knicks trying to pursue him. Not many, but I don't think that the Knicks should trade for him. He's an older player. Something he does give you is 3-point shooting, but he's not a good defender. And you're going to miss out on Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein down low protecting the rim. And Embiid, although he's not a top defender, defending big in the league, he gets the job done. Mitchell Robinson's probably an All-NBA defender at his position. And Hartenstein's just a tough, nitty-gritty, hard-working player. So he's going to be down there. He gets a lot of rebounds. He works for every single second he gets on the court. Last year we saw him. He didn't get as much playing time at the start of the year, and then he really transformed into the kind of player that Tibbs likes, and we saw him get more and more playing time as the season went on and eventually into the playoffs. But one last thing about Cat, he's going to provide 3-point shooting. But, I mean, I would rather have the defense down low than the 3-point shooting. They say defense wins championships, and that's really what my take is on the Knicks trading for Karl Anthony Towns. So recapping what I just said, James Harden, don't trade for him. I don't think they're going to trade for him anyway. I think he's going to go to the Clippers. Joel Embiid, absolutely do whatever it takes to trade for Joel Embiid. He's going to be good for another couple years. And if James Harden asks out of Philly, I think Harden's going to follow him in the following weeks or months after that. Luka Doncic, yes, go out and get Luka if he wants to trade. If he wants to get traded out of Dallas. I don't know how he's going to feel about Kyrie Irving. I don't know if Kyrie's going to try to steal his buckets. But I think Luka's a young player that's going to be really good for a really long time. And lastly, Karl Anthony Towns. Don't trade for him. He's not going to give you the defense down low that Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein give you. He will provide the 3-point shooting. But we got Dante DiVincenzo. I'm expecting IQ to take a lead this year. Josh Hart can shoot the ball. Quentin Grimes, looking for him to stay hot throughout the year and not be a streaky shooter. Brunson can put the ball in the basket. Julius Randle, if he's hot, He can make it. I think we're gonna jump. The Knicks are gonna jump up in 3-point percentage from last year. All right, moving on to the MLB Championship Series, starting out in Philly in Red October. It's the Phillies. They take a win in Game 2 of that series. They win 5-3. Bryce Harper with a birthday bash. Nick Castellanos goes deep. Kyle Schwarber hits one out of the park. And this is the second year in a row that they're getting hot in the playoffs and they're really making a run at the World Series. I think they're going to get there for the second straight year if they continue this. And they're either going to meet Houston or Texas. Houston, they're a veteran-led team. They're experienced. They know what to do in the postseason. But Texas has taken a 2-0 series lead on them. And if Texas gets to the World Series, then I think the Phillies have a really good shot at winning it, which it pains me to say it, but that's going to be another NL East team winning a World Series before the Mets get another one. Everyone's already done it, but it's just adding on to it, which is tough for Mets fans like myself and our whole fan base, the Seven Line Army, everyone. We didn't have the best season this year, but we're looking to pay some players, stack the deck, and go at it again next year. And I just want to hit on Trey Turner for a second, because ever since the Philly fans gave him that unexpected standing ovation in July, he's been back to the player he was in Washington and LA. So that's big for the Phillies because he's someone that's going to get on base. He's going to steal you out of bases. And he's going to make winning plays. And that's the bottom line. So he's helping. He's helping the Phillies in a big way. And like I mentioned before, the Diamondback, and before in this episode, I think, and I know I mentioned it in yesterday's episode, go check that out. First ever video podcast. Check the video out on YouTube and all the audio on all the normal platforms. But getting back to what I said, the Diamondbacks are a young team. Zach Gallen showed it last night. This is his first season being an ace and a Cy Young candidate for the Diamondbacks. He gave up 5 runs in his 5 innings of work. And the Phillies are just so hot right now. Their home, the hitting, it's honestly incredible that it's happening 2 years in a row, is what I'll say. But what the Diamondbacks did do well is shut the Phillies out in the late portion of the game. Although it didn't matter, they didn't allow the bullpen didn't allow a single run, which is a little bit of a bright spot, I would say. All right, moving on to the AL side of the bracket. We got the Astros taking on the Rangers. Astros at home for this one. And have Framber Valdez on the bump, who did have a no-hitter this year. Which seems crazy because he has such an inflated ERA. But in this one, he allowed 5 runs to another red-hot team in the Texas Rangers. Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, Josh Lowe, Adolis Garcia. The list goes on of these guys that are getting hits. And Adolis Garcia had a pretty incredible way of getting out of the way of an almost hit by pitch by doing a cartwheel into the other batter's box. It was very interesting. It was like kind of just like one of those weird plays that happens in baseball. But the Rangers, I know I said yesterday that the Astros are moving on. That was before I looked at any of the scores and looked to do my notes for any of these games. And after last night, I really think that the Rangers are going to take this series. They're up 2-0 heading back home to their fans. If the Astros don't get a win in this game, they're done for. It's over. The Rangers are going to the World Series, and they're going to face probably the Phillies, but maybe the Diamondbacks. But with that said, I don't believe that the Rangers are going to be able to finish the series this easily, and I think the Astros are going to put up a fight and try to take this series and get back to another World Series. Altuve wants another ring. Um, Jeremy Pena wants another ring. Bregman wants another ring. Bregman and Altuve, who knows how many years they have left? They're both pretty. Um, they both played in the league for a pretty long time now, so it's gonna be interesting to see because this might be one of the last years that they're making it to the World Series consistently with Altuve and Bregman as the top guys in this lineup. So I think the Rangers are going to win the series, but the Astros are definitely going to put up a big fight. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. I'm your host, Ben Ballion. But before I end it, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at thesportspod_Ben and subscribe to the YouTube channel for video podcasts. Both links to the channel will be in the description below. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. I'm your host, Ben Ballion, and this was The Sports Pod.